Good evening to all. Hope my voice is audible and the screen is also visible to you. Anyone please respond? Is audible and visible both happen? Yes. Okay. Okay. I will start the session. Coming to the session. In this session, our main concept is related to keys. Key. What is a key? What are different types of keys that are available? Generally, keys are wherever you open the book, generally it shows primary key, candidate key, super key, foreign key. So those are the key names that are available in database management system. Coming to the SQL, MySQL, the first key is termed as unique key. Unique key. What is mean by unique key? Here understand the concept carefully. For example, I have a table. Assume the table is some student ID, student name, for example, student marks, email ID of the student, some phone number of the student. Assume these are the fields available in the student database. Okay. Now, general, each and every student have different name. Yes or no? Each and every not name. Sorry. Each and every student have different roll number. So, coming to one college or university, one student roll number does not match with any other student number. Anyway, the name may be same, marks may be same, address may be also same. For example, email, each student have different email, each student have different phone number. Here what is the point here? Consider one column. If a value is uniquely defined, there are no duplicates in that particular column. Generally that is called unique key. I think you got it. So student ID is a unique, no duplicates are allowed. Email is unique, no duplicates are allowed. Phone number is a unique, no duplicates are allowed. Now this SID is termed as a unique key. This email is termed as unique key. This phone number is termed as unique key. Okay. Now, one important point. For example, assume one student have no email. By default, what is the value? Suppose if no email, null. Assume student number email is not available, the value is equal to null. For example, student 7 also email is not available. Now the value is equal to null. Okay. If it is available, it must be in a queue. Suppose if the email is not available, the value is equal to now. Now my question is the field email is unique key? Yes or no? Unique key, yes or no? First of all, is null is allowed or not? If null is allowed, multiple records have same null. Yes, that is the main important thing. Remember, in the unique key, null is also allowed. Fine, but but only one record is null. More than one record is not null. For example, 100 students are there. Only one student email is null, then that is a fine. For example, if two students email is null, that is not a unique key. I think everyone is clear. So unique key is not for identification of a record. Maybe for one student ID is null, it is not possible to identify the entire record. Okay, the only agenda you need to think is, if you do not want to allow duplicates in a particular column, in that situation we are making that one as in a queue. What is the main thing? Two records does not wants to maintain identical information. It stores only different, that is distinct information. Clear? Now, sir, how do you make one column? Column in the sense field only. How do you make one column as the EQ key? I will show you. Create table, table name, normal syntax. Create table, table name. Write down that column names. Column 1 data type 1 comma, column 2 data type 2 comma, and so on. For example, column n data type n. If you want to make any column as the unique key, for example, I want to make column n as the unique key, followed by write down the keyword unique, comma, any other columns are there, you can write. Not only the last column, you can write any column. I think you clear my point. After the column data type, write down the keyword in queue, upper or lower, not a to. So then this column is in queue key. Sir, I want to make more than one column into unique queue. If you want to make more than one column into unique queue, how you write? Suppose column 1 data 1, column 2 data n. For example, write down here up to here. Write down all the columns and at last write down unique queue of. So column 1, comma, column 2, these are I want. I think you got it. Instead of writing unique for whatever the column you required, at last you are writing the unique within bracket. Write down the columns for which columns you want unique. Write down that column names. Clear? Before that, if you want, you can apply some constraint. I will explain with an example. Don't worry, very very easy. Constraint in the sense some condition. Constraint in the sense condition followed by the name of the condition. This is optional. Followed by name of the condition, that is optional. Clear? Now I will create show tables. What are the tables available? Department and employee. So create some student table. Create student, sorry, create table, table name. What are the parameters you want? You can write down the parameters. For example, student id integer. I want student id as integer. Now, if you want, you can give not null also. Yes or no? I think you remember. If you given not null, compulsory you need to provide the value. Compulsory you need to give the value. So unique queue. That means even null is also not allowed in unique queue. Comma. Suppose student name some varchar of 20. Any other fields we required, for example age of the student, and suppose some address city, whatever you want, where care of them 20 close. Okay, yes, for this age data type I miss. Okay, student table is created. Yes or no? A student table is created. Next step, insert some value into the student. Insert student of, suppose student id, student name. What is the next one? Student id, student name, age. Student name, age, comma, city, space, values of. For example, student id 1, student name Razu, student is 30, suppose student city Hyderabad, close record is inserted successfully. Now there is no problem with that record. There is no problem with that record. Now write down the same. For example, change all this. Here understand student id is not changed. Here I am not changing the student id. It gives an error. See, duplicate entry 1 for key student id. I think everyone is clear. This is maintaining uniqueness. Maintaining uniqueness. Clear? For example, if you want to create another student, create table name. Already student is given. Suppose write student one, no problem. Write down same. SID integer. What is the next one? S name. Varchar of 20. What is the next to age? Integer. Age integer. Next to what is the given? Phone number integer. Oh, city. Okay, whatever it is. City. Varchar of 20. Okay, up to no problem. Up to no problem. Whatever the parameters or fields I want, I return all the fields. Now what is my question? I want to make more than one column as the unique column. More than one column as the unique column. First I will write down like this. Unique unique. What are the unique terms you want? Suppose I want SID and PHNO. Now observe, check the manual that correspond to your MySQL server version for the right syntax to use SID, comma phone number. Why it gives an error? Why it gives an error? I will show you one more time. Now, okay, just a simple error. I missed the comma only. Now, DESC student name I given student one. DESC student one. Observe the default values are null. Key is MUL. I will explain this after completion. I will explain this one. MUL means multiple keys. The term MUL specifies multiple are available. Here SID and phone number. SID and phone number. You want, suppose student 1 is okay. Now I change this table into student 2. Observe all the things what I am doing. Constraint. Here I return some condition constructor. Now DSC student 2. You got any additional information? I given the constraint. I given constraint. What you get? So as usual, observe the previous one. Observe the previous one means everything is same. Here I written the condition while typing. I written the condition. I written the condition. How? Suppose I will show you one term. Anyway, this concept is not completed. I will explain this concept. No problem. Index from student one. So it displays. Once you know the index concept, then it is very easy. Observe the table index type. By default, in MySQL, the index is B-tree type. So depending upon the that is a database, the index type is changed. For MySQL, B-tree data type. So non-unique comment, key name, index comment, SID. Okay, SID, column name expression, cardinality. Cardinality in the sense the number of records. Here you observe the complete details are displayed. Complete details are displayed. Okay, what is the meaning? The constraint is added to you successfully. The meaning is simply constraint is some condition. Okay. First topic is completed. One basic. What is that one? How to create a table with unique. Whether a single column as the unique, even ignore the constraint, not a problem. Single column as the unique or multiple columns as the unique. Multiple columns means at last within the parenthesis you can write all the columns that you want to make as unique. Now, sir, I want to change. For example, after this, I want to convert one unique. This is, for example, phone number is not to converted as unique. Then, if you want, you can delete. If you want, you can delete. How do you change? Changing. So already every command you know. Here the thing is, how do you alter the same syntax? Alter table, table. Here drop, drop followed by index. What is the constraint you given? You are writing that constraint table name. So student 1 or student 2. So here execute, then you will get an idea. Alter table, table name. Suppose student 1 is my table. Here drop index, drop index. What is the name I given? SID underscore phone number. Understand? Drop table, table name. Sorry, alter table, table name. That is from this table I am changing. How? I am dropping the index SID underscore phone number. Press enter. SID underscore phone number. Check that column or key existed or not. Yes, existed. Cannot drop SID. Check that column or key. Now we will check. Okay, this is a student 2 table. Sorry, that is a student 2 table. Yes, change it or not? Now again run the same query. Empty set. Empty set. Removed or not? Removed or not? Suppose alter. One more time. So why? Because while table creation, this plays very crucial role. I'm created one more table, student 3. Okay, DESC student. This is the description of student 3. Now I am showing the index for student 3. I'm showing the index for student 3. Okay, see this one. Key name. Actually, previously what happened here, this is for student 1. That is the reason only one column is there for student 1. SI is displayed. Here, what is the key name? SID phone number together. That is the key name. That is the key. Now, drop from student 3. Now empty. I think everyone is clear. What happened? If you want, you can add. If you want, you can add. by applying some constraint. The constraint is that simply that condition. If you want, you can delete. If you want, you can delete. Clear? Now next one. So that is the basic important one, primary key. The next one is primary. I think everyone knows this one. Actually, this plays very crucial role. The purpose of primary key is to identify a record uniquely, to identify a record uniquely in the table. That record identification is done by using primary key generally. So there is no restriction. Primary key is a single column name or combination of multiple columns, column in the same field, or multiple columns, but the only aim is to uniquely identify a record, to uniquely identify a record. Okay, for example, one table is created. Assume the student IDs, instead of giving the complete serial number, I given student ID 1 2, CSC, he is CSC, he also CSC. For example, like this 1 2 3 is from ECE. So this is the table I created. Now, for example, different names are there. Now I want to get one detail. For example, student 2 details. Which student 2 details? Here student 2 here available, student 2 also available. In that case, student ID and branch together gives the complete details. Student ID and branch together give the complete details. That means a single column or combination of any columns that uniquely identify a record, that uniquely identify a record, that is primary key. One second. Now, the most important condition is primary key cannot be null. Now you observe the main difference between unique key and primary key. In the unique key, one null is allowed in a column. One null is allowed in a column. If null is there in the column, it is not used for identify a record. But coming to primary key, even single null is allowed on that particular column. Suppose which field you want to make as a primary key, on that particular single value is not null. Okay, that is the main point related to primary key generally. Okay, clear. Suppose we are inserting record by record. What is the procedure? We are inserting record by record. Primary key, if you want to is make one element as a primary key. If you want to insert duplicate, automatically it gives an error. Automatically it gives an error. And one more important term, auto increment. Remember this term, auto increment. Generally, while inserting the records, they are using auto increment property. What is the meaning of auto increment? Row 1, row 2, row 3, automatically it is incremented. It is incremented. Clear? Now I will show you how do we create a primary key. Okay, most important. Even unique key don't know problem, but the primary key is a very important. Why? Because you are creating a table without know you how to extract the information. So without everything compulsory, you need to maintain the uniqueness. So what are the things must and should remember? The primary key must be unique. Okay, first point. How many number of primary keys in a table? A table consists only one primary key. A primary key of any number of columns, that is combination of two columns, that is a primary key. But only one key, that is one such combination is allowed to identify a record. Now duplicate, if you make one as a primary key, duplicates are not allowed. Anyway, if you want, I will explain how do you make as a primary key. Simple thing. As usual, create table, table name. Create table, table name. Suppose column 1 data type 1, column 2 data type 2, and so on, column n data type n. Now comma followed by this one, write down primary key, comma, and so on. I think you got it. How do you write unique term? In the similar way, write down the primary key. Exactly same syntax. Or in my table, I have more than one primary key. What you need to do? What you need to do? Simply remove comma, comma. Here, if you want any constraint, as usual, you will write down the constraints, comma, same primary key of, write down the column names that you want to make. Observe how we written unique exactly in the same fashion we are writing this one. Now suppose create one more table. Here the only thing is the creation of tables. Create table, table name, suppose student 4. What are the things you want? For example, student ID, integer, student ID, integer, primary key, comma, student name, suppose var of 20, comma, age, integer, comma, city, var of 20, DESC, student 4. See this one? PRI. Observe. Previously, you are getting 1.MUL. What is the meaning? Multiple keys are available. Yes or no? In this, I have multiple keys. SIDE and PHNO. Both are multiple. But here, PRI specifies the primary key. What is the null value? Even though you are not given, not null. Primary key does not consist of any null value. PRI, if you want, I will show you. Insert. Anyway, you can exit. So, what is your task? Your task is insert the values. Assume insert two records with the same student ID. In two records with the same student ID, check what happened. Same student ID, check what happened. For example, select star from student 4, empty set. Right now there is no data. Right now there is no data. Now create table, table name, table, table name. Just whatever I discussed, I will explain. Here what I am writing, student ID in here. Now, instead of writing directly the primary key, I said one thing, auto underscore increment. I will explain. So remember, case sensitive, even you can write in lower case, not a problem. Just for identification, I written in uppercase primary key, comma, primary key, comma, student name, var of 20, comma, age integer, sorry, comma, age integer. So what happened here? Sir, there is no difference between the previous one and this one. Auto increment. What is the use of this one? Now check. Insert into insert into, you are writing the values. So student 5, 1 comma name, for example Raju, comma uh, id name age 30, select star from student 5. So not happen. I given the value one, exactly the value one is stored. I given value exactly the value one is stored. Now, what is the use of this one? Suppose insert into student 5, yes name, comma age, values of. Now you understand? I am not given value to. I am not given value to. Suppose previous what I did, value 1 I given, that is the reason that is entered, no problem. But in the second insertion I entered only for student name and age, but student ID is taken as 2. Now you got my point. Auto increment, automatically increment the value by 1, automatically increment the value by 1. Now this is used as a primary key, yes or no? Even you are writing 1000 records, the numbers are from 1 to 1000. That number only uniquely identify. That number uniquely identify. I think everyone is clear. Everyone is clear. Now I will write one more table. Only practice create table 5 is completed. Suppose student 6, what are the things? Same thing, student id integer, comma next to name, yes name. The field names are your wish. That is not a problem. Don't confuse about the field names. Just to your aim is previously how do you write in queue? What happened if you written in queue? Second, how do you write primary key? What happened if you written primary key? Third, how do you write auto increment? What happened auto increment? Now here I am writing integer name, for example phone number of integer, city of varchar of some 20. Now what is my concept here? If you want to make multiple columns as the primary key, as usual same thing, primary key of what are the columns you want? I want student id, phone number, whatever the combination you want you can use, but such a combination uniquely identify the record. Show, sorry, student number 6. Now observe, pri and pri both are primary keys, both are primary keys. By using that combination only you are identify the record, you are identify the record. Now alter table, before that, one second, DESC. I think employee table is available. Yes. In that employee table, there is no primary key. In that employee table, I have no primary key. By mistake, I doesn't give any primary key. Table is created. Now, what is the aim? At the time of table creation, directly you can write the primary key, not a problem. But if you already created the primary key, you want to add. How? Alter table name, that is the common point. Alter table name. Okay, now how simply add. I think everyone know alter command. Everyone know alter command. Primary key of, what are the primary keys you want? You can write the primary key. What I want? Employee ID semicolon. Yes, zeros rows affected, DESC, EMP. Now observe, affected in the sense the information record value changed. This is schema. Observe, in the previously, employee id is not a primary key. Employee id is not a primary key. Now I am converted this one into primary key. So previously you can give null value for employee id. Whenever I convert employee id into primary key, the value is not null. The value is not null. Okay, suppose if you want, in the same fashion, you can delete, alter table name. For example, one table student 4 is there. Yes, student 4 or student 3 is there. Alter table name. Some student to 4. Student 4 table is there. Simply the command is drop primary key. No need to specify which column. At the time of adding, multiple columns are there. You need to specify for this column, that is this field is marked as a primary key. But at the time of deletion, whatever the primary key available in the table, we are removing that one. Now DSC student 4. See, the key is deleted. The primary key is deleted. I think everyone is clear. This is primary key. Now, till now, any doubt? Okay. Okay, I'm going on. Next key. Next, we have two types. So, two more are there. Simple thing. One is the composite key. One is composite key. Another one is the foreign key. Another one is foreign key. Anyway, composite key is a very simple. Composite, the name specifies, I think everyone know, the name specifies combination. For example, if one field unable to identify a record, one field not able to identify a record quickly, in that situation, we are using a combination of two or more fields. Two or more fields. Generally, that is called primary key. But generally, primary key means only one primary key is existed for a table. But we can have any number of composite keys that are available for your table. I think you got my point. That is termed as primary key, combination or a single column. But if a table can have any number of candidate keys, and at the same time the numbers are of different data types also. The numbers are of different data types also. Sir, how do you create a candidate key? Sorry, how do you create a composite? Generally, candidate key super keys are comes under composite. Candidate key super key means combination. Here there is no term composite key. As usual, create table some student id integer comma, for example student name varchar 2 of some 20 comma and so on. At last you are writing the primary key, for example student id comma name. I think you got it. You are writing the primary key term only with multiple columns. Got it? Previously, one single column primary key is also available. but there are multiple columns, you can use the primary key. So now what is your aim? You can insert. So different SIDs are available. Yes or no? Yes. Suppose, for example, just understanding, SID name, some additional fields are there. Assume if SID is the primary key, the entire column must and should have unique values. Unique values. Right now, ID is not only the primary key. This combination is the primary key. For example, one name is ABC, two name is XYZ. For example, one name is WP. Is it allowed or not? 100% it is allowed. This combination is Q. Even SID duplicates, no problem. Suppose 4 ABC duplicate, no problem. Single column is not a problem. I think you got my point. Whatever the columns that you want to make as the primary key, generally that is called composite. As usual, everything is same. Only one additional point, for a table we can create any number. Okay, leave it. Now everyone need to remember right now two unique key and primary key. If multiple primary keys are available, that is the composite key. Now I am moving into another important one, foreign key. In the simple understanding, what is the foreign key? If you want to implement foreign key, two tables must and should needed. Suppose this is table 1 and this one is table 2. Assume table 1 consists of employee ID, employee name, some salary. So table 2 consists of department ID, department name, some employee ID. If this is the information, okay. Now that is a foreign key. What is the purpose? Simply it is used to provide a link. Provide a link between two tables, not only two tables, suppose three tables, four tables. If you want to make a link between multiple tables, we are using foreign key. Generally in some places this foreign key is also called as reference key also. Don't confuse, whatever the name they given, don't confuse. Concept is to provide and one table. How? Very simple. Assume one field. In one table, the field acts as the primary key. The field acts as the primary key. The primary key of one table matches with a key of another table, and this is called foreign key. This is called foreign key. What is the meaning? A foreign key exactly matches with a prime foreign key of one table matches with primary key of another table. That to understand this one, I think this type of situation already query is executed. Suppose I in the case of join, in case of matched, employee IDs are matched. Okay, as usual, how do thing is you to create two tables, that is the target. Now the remaining procedure is same. By using create table name, we are creating the primary key. We are creating the primary key. Okay, what is the general syntax you need to follow while creating any primary key? If you have any constraint, you need to write the name of the constraint. Suppose I will write down neatly constraint followed by name of the constraint. I already said constraint in the sense simply the condition. Simply the condition. In this foreign key, what is the name of the constraint? Here the constraint name is generally foreign key constraint. While we are moving to DBMS, multiple constraints are there. Integrity constraint, referential constraint, update constraint, and detection constraint. Multiple constraints are there. So the foreign key constraint is written here, followed by, as usual, how you written the primary key here, foreign key followed by the column names, foreign key followed by the column name. What is the column? According to my example, employee ID is the column. According to my example, employee ID is the column. Employee is the column. Now it provides a link between two tables. Generally, one table is called parent table, another one is called child table. One is called parent table, another one is called child table. That is the relation between parent and child. Now, everyone, one important point must and should remember. So reference, yes or no? It provides a link or a reference. In the reference, different types are there. Everyone remember the most important reference type is, I will explain it in an example, no problem. Cascade. Cascade means, suppose in this table, if you are removing that information, removing the, so one row is removed, here I am removing a row, or else if I am update the row, whatever you remove or update on a particular row in the one table, that in record is updated or removed from the child table also. Got my point? There is a relationship between parent and child. If you do any modification on the parent table, it affects child table also. Affects the child table also. Now, one more point is set null. Null means if you are doing any modification in the parent table, that particular value becomes null in the child table, not removed. For example, parent table I am removing, child table, if you are using cascade, child table, that record is removed. Suppose if the option is, if the reference option is set null, if parent table you do any modification, in the child table the value is set to null. And another important is restrict. I think you understand, exactly reverse to cascade. Whatever the modification you done on the parent table, that does not affect the child table, that does not affect the child table. Okay, now just to one example, just to one example I will show you. Mm, I think one table is there, student, student 3 is there, no primary key. Okay, firstly I will create one table, create. Oh, I dropped the keys. Table, table name, suppose student h, with the parameters student id integer. I given some parameter student id integer. If you want you can give not null, if you want you can give auto increment. All these are optional, all these are optional, comma, suppose student name var of 20, and if you want anything, phone number integer, comma, make any one element as a primary key. Primary key, uh, what is that one? SID. Yes, student id is the primary key. One table is created successfully, one table is created successfully. Now your aim is create one more table, create table. Suppose my table name is depart, already department table is there, so my table name is depart, sorry. Assume student id, assume whatever the parameter column name I given, here also I given the same column into, and additional information whatever you want, department id integer, for example department name, varchar of some 20, department name some varchar of 20. Now if you want, you can give any conditions. Suppose if you want, you can give index also. Okay, the next session only our example department id. Okay, department id is the index. So additional parameters, if you want, if you want constraint, you can give the constraint also. Constraint, for example, my constraint name is depart. You can give any name of the constraint. It's not a problem. Now this is important. foreign, foreign key of, foreign key of, what is the foreign key you want to make? What is the foreign key you want to make? So here I am making this one as the foreign key. What is, will show create table depart. So okay, dname varchar of 20, that is also fine. So I created one index, that is not a problem. Index is created. So or else once the index concept is completed, I will create the index. Ignore that one. Now, constraint, spelling constraint, constraint. You can give the name of the constraint. Okay, foreign, foreign key. So you can give the foreign key name also. And if you want, you can give references. That is optional. References. If you want, you can give references. What is the references? D part of SID followed by, followed by, this is reference name. On delete cascade, previously whatever you want that is happen. On delete cascade, create table S, fail to add missing index. Index is required. Index, once you come with the index, then you will get an idea. Suppose index some id1, index id1, give the name of the index did. You have an error in your SQL, check the manual that correspond. Okay, write syntax constraint near constraint. What is the spelling? S, I already said, just some spelling mistakes. Comma. Again, missing index for the constraint fk depart, reference table depart. Create, once again, finally I will conclude, create table name. Okay, depart is my table name. SID some integer, department id I taken as some integer, comma, department name some varchar of 20. Fine. So I create one index. Assume the name of the index is, first I will move to here parallelly. Assume the name of some index number. For depart is my constraint. Foreign key, foreign key, within bracket I did. Department id is the foreign key. Department id is the foreign key. References, referen, references, depart of, what is my name? Depart of SID on delete cascade. Okay. So okay, anyway, no problem. We will execute this foreign key tomorrow once we complete with the index concept. Only thing is index constraint. Index is only missing. Okay. Once the index concept is completed, I will go with this foreign key. The tomorrow session we will move to index and then foreign key also. No problem. Okay, fine. Oh, okay. I given instead of SID what I given? Okay, foreign key is DID I given S. The common name. Foreign key is S, very good. The common name you need to given. Anyway, fine. No, no, no. Foreign key is not a tough topic. I am adding all the things to the foreign key only. That is the reason it becomes tough. Once you understand index, once you understand the references, once you understand constraint, the foreign key is also very easy. Suppose select star from employee. It is very difficult if you don't know where condition, if you don't know star. Once you know all the subtopics, it is very easy. That is not a problem. Tomorrow definitely you will understand foreign key once you know the topic of indexes. Not a, don't worry. Okay. So thank you. That's the end of today.